When planning the road to success, there are a few steps to keep in mind. Identifying and solving the cause, facing and embracing change, goal setting, and being accountable. We'll talk about this today on Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. New and healthier habits lead to prosperity in all areas of your life and business. Now, here's your host, Chris Salem.
Welcome to Sustainable Success. Hope everyone is having a great week. Here we are heading into Memorial Day weekend. Hope everyone has some great plans. I know it's been some crazy weather over the last week, and I've actually seen it because I've been traveling and I was in Nashville, Tennessee with some tornado warnings, and then my plane getting canceled and having to drive 7 hours to Pittsburgh to speak at a conference. Oh my God. Well, you can see what kind of a week I had, but nonetheless, we pulled it off. It all went well. We hope everyone is not getting rained out wherever you are. I know here in the Northeast, it's been constant raining, but we hope that your Memorial Day is going to be a pleasant one. And as here at Sustainable Success, we always adapt to what is and always looking for the positive in any challenge that we go through. If you're new to Sustainable Success, you found us here at the Voice America Business Channel on our new platform, Libsyn, where also you can find us on Apple as well as Spotify, also an audio version on YouTube, and our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. We encourage you to either listen on all those areas, subscribe, or pick the one that you feel is best for you, whatever that may be. Again, each week we have subject matter experts sharing their words of wisdom and insights to help elevate you and your business to the next level. And we cover a wide array of different topics and areas that will help you in all areas that are important to you. So feel free to check that out and get back to us anytime here at chris@sustainablesuccess.net, and be more than happy to take some information on content you would like to hear here on a future show. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program, taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. It is a platform that, again, takes all the noise out of social media, no more of those noisy notifications, and offers a wide array of different services for their subscribers that are not available to the general public. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we have a wonderful show for you today. We're going to be talking about EPIC, and that is in bold, EPIC, Epic Impact, Engage, Persuade, Inspire in 7 seconds with the power of story and AI. Yes, you're going to learn how you can design a framework of storytelling using AI as a tool, not dependent on it. That's going to be for you entrepreneurs, nonprofit leaders, and chain makers out there to really be compelling and stand out in a noisy world without all the hype and hard selling. We are here with Hailey Evans, and you're going to she'll be sharing today insights here. She is a national speaker, award-winning marketing strategist, and founder of Strategies That Stick, trademarked, a consulting firm that helps nonprofits and mission-driven leaders craft compelling stories and implement marketing strategies that drive real impact. From single motherhood and food stamps to business success and national recognition, Hailey's journey embodies resilience, clarity, purpose-driven leadership. She is known for her dynamic energy, emotionally resonant storytelling, and ability to help others clarify their voice and lead movements that matter. And without further ado, we welcome Hailey Evans to the show. Hailey, how are you doing today?
Hey, Chris. Thanks so much. I am so glad to be here. I'm doing great.
Great. We are so glad to have you here. And you and I have gotten the chance to meet beforehand and have a discussion. And you have such a powerful story. And, obviously that's become what you do best in helping, brands, especially nonprofits, to really create compelling stories that really connect with their audience and really inspire to build win-win situations. Before we start, we always like to get the foundation behind the topic that we're discussing, even if it's at a personal level, if you choose. A little foundation about the epic concept, and maybe, what drove you personally to adopt it and bring it to the world.
Yeah. So 15 years ago, I found myself as a single mom. I had been married for 14 years, married my high school sweetheart, and all of a sudden, I was a single mom with an 11 and 13-year-old sons. And I had been a stay-at-home mom for all those years, didn't have any work experience, hadn't completed my college, and at that point had no idea how I was going to provide for myself and my sons. So temporarily ended up on food stamps and Medicaid, knew I did not want to stay there. And for me, I decided that education was going to be my only way out. However, I also did not want to go into debt to earn that education. So I started writing scholarships and I started winning. And I earned $52,000 in scholarships just from the power of sharing my story through vulnerability and emotionally engaging clarity. And went on to earn 3 degrees in 5 years, including an MBA. And that opened it was a ripple effect. It opened door after door after door. And that started the foundation of what now I call EPIC. And that is engage, persuade, inspire, and close. It's the framework that I teach nonprofits and business owners, entrepreneurs, anyone who wants to engage their audience.
Wow, fabulous! I love it, love it. And and now that you've helped so many of the organizations, can you talk a little bit about this concept and how that plays into storytelling and how that really helps to not only create a brand but also builds relationships and helps, I guess in this case, nonprofits or any business that you're working with, help them to accomplish what's important to them?
Yeah. Well, most organizations are sitting on a gold mine of stories, but they either don't know how to tell them in a compelling way that actually moves people to act, or they are not telling them consistently through email marketing or in a way that can reach their audience. And so what I come in and do and say, I normally will do just a marketing audit and say, okay, look, you're missing opportunities here or there. Let's craft a campaign that's actually going to move the needle. And it's just a simple way of taking stories and creating them to have the emotional connection, the persuasion, and inspire, and then that call to action with clarity and precision. And so there's a framework. And what's great about frameworks, I'm all about frameworks, is that they can be applied to nonprofits. They can be applied to different campaigns. They can also be applied to a specific donor, a campaign, or even volunteers. So it's very versatile, but it works in every kind of industry and across any kind of situation.
Wow, that's fabulous, fabulous. And what are some things like, walk us through, some things like when you like if you talk to like a nonprofit and they're just somehow they're not really aligning with their audience. Maybe they're looking to raise funds through fundraisers, or it could be getting grants, or strategically aligning with certain partners, and for some reason they're just they're hitting a wall with that.
Yeah. So one example is Greenville Technical College Foundation. And Ann Wright, she is the VP for advancement, and she is so open to ideas, and she's been in the business for 40 years. However, their email open rates were around 20%. And I met with her about 6 months ago, and I said, why don't you just try something called Transformation Tuesday? Just have one story once a week so that everybody learns to expect this inspirational story about a student and how your program is directly affecting the life of that student. Well, 6 months later, I get a call from her, and she's like, Hailey, you're not going to believe this. Our open rates and click-through rates have doubled. They went from 22% open rates to 45%. So they have already increased the engagement from all of the people that have received those emails, but the board is more engaged. Donors are more engaged, and they're actually moving the needle. So it just goes to show the power of story and having a strategic focus. And it doesn't have to be long. A story can be just 3 to 5 to 10 sentences long, but it needs to be clear. It needs to have the engagement. It needs to have the persuasion. It also needs to have emotional, genuine emotion and specific details. It also needs to have a clear transformational moment in time. So there is some strategy that goes along with it. There's an art and a science, but when organizations decide to dial it in, the results are incredible.
Wow, that's fabulous. So I love what you shared there, because it is there is a strategy, and sometimes like you can't do this by yourself. You gotta align with people like you that that know how to do this, and this is gonna save them a lot of time and money on the back end of doing things that are not working and so on. How in this case with stories, because you mentioned that stories don't have to be very long; they could be something where there are a few sentences. How important is a story based upon the audience? Do you think, like, when you work with them, do they really know their audience like they think they know their audience? I always find that sometimes that a lot of times people maybe assume they know their audience, but they maybe don't really know what's important to them, what their challenges are that could be better, what are the results they seek to have. And that could be where the story, they may have a story, but it's not the right story to align with what that's important to them. But making sure the story aligns to what's important to them.
Yes, that is a great question. I am a story brand certified guide, and in the brand story projects that I do is I have an assessment. I walk them through about a 45-minute assessment. I make sure that we identify their ideal client avatar. We also identify what the 3 common problems are that their ideal client or donor or volunteer is struggling with. What is their internal problem? What is their external problem? And what is the philosophical problem? Most of the time, people are only addressing the external problem. But there's an internal problem. That's like the frustration, the emotion. What are they feeling? What are they experiencing? What's bringing them to actually seek a solution to the problem? The philosophical problem is, why is it just plain wrong? Why are we having to struggle with trying to find a solution to the problem? So when organizations address each of those 3 problems, it's amazing that the doors open up, because when you can speak directly to that person's problem, like you said, it just creates that connection, and it's also empathy. You have to be able to empathize with your prospect or the donor or the volunteer, so that you can explain to them, like, hey, I get it. I understand. I know what you're going through. And at the same time, you have to balance authority with that empathy to say, hey, because of all of our years of experience, this is why we are the right match for you or whatnot. So there's definitely, again, there's layers and layers and layers of strategy that I walk organizations through to get a very big picture. And then we go after the plan.
That's great. I love that. And in terms of, like, when you think about a story, does the story, like, just, start, like, you have the story, but does it can it continue to evolve? Like, especially as you're evolving either in, a nonprofit's evolving in that industry or in the areas that they're serving, and, adapting to their audiences, could shift as well.
Definitely. So the other piece that nonprofits get wrong is that they are so complex. They need to have a specific story dedicated to attract donors, to attract volunteers. They need to have their mission story. They also need to have a story that keeps their team aligned, and also to attract their board members. So what happens is that they muddle it all up and they throw it all into this pot, and they try to keep it all together in one, like, intro or one-liner. And it's like, that's where they get it wrong. So when you can segment your audience and you can segment your email campaign, or, divide up your social media posts, and that you are speaking directly to that audience, that is where you're going to resonate with them, and that's where your engagement level is going to go up. So yes, for sure, you definitely need to segment and speak directly to that person.
Wow, that's great. Love it. And we hope, listeners, that you're taking notes, especially if you are in a nonprofit, or perhaps somebody that's in a nonprofit. This is some great information. Make sure you share this show with them after hearing what Hailey is sharing, and also what she's sharing can apply to other businesses. So, not just nonprofits here. What would be like if you could share with us, and again, nothing signature, of course, because we know we have to protect your process, but just anything in general that you can share, like what it takes to put together a great story.
Yep. So I would start small, and I call it my epic intro. When somebody asks you, what do you do? And it takes you longer than 5 seconds to answer them, you have already lost them. And so when I do workshops, I absolutely love to make sure that people can explain what problem they solve, how they solve it, and what is the outcome. And so that is the commitment that I make to every person in a workshop. I want them to make that they don't leave until I make sure that they walk out of there with knowing how to explain clearly what it is they do and why it matters and why people need to care and act. So that is just one formula. So it's your problem that you solve, the problem that you offer, and the solution, and then the outcome. So it's 1, 2, 3, boom.
Wow, that's great. And I'm always a big advocate of that as well. Like you can't propose. A story can't move somebody towards a result if they don't even know what their challenge is, because, and a lot of times their result will be a byproduct of what the challenge is that could be better. So vice versa. They might not even know what the challenge is, or they might even know what I guess that would lead to the next question. If they're not sure what the challenge is, maybe they have an idea. Obviously they're not generating enough funds or revenue, getting more grants. I'm just using nonprofits. How could do you walk them through a process that might flush out what that challenge is that could be leading to those issues?
Yeah. So again, that goes back to the brand story, and that to the assessment is to really figure out where are they. And here's the thing. It's not a marketing problem. It's a messaging problem.
Yes.
It always goes back to messaging. Every time I do a workshop and I say, hey, tell me what you think are the keys to a great story. And you'll get emotion, or you'll get, the call to action, or you get this or that. Nobody ever gets clarity. Clarity is the number one thing that you need to focus on. And so when I say it, they're like, oh, I get it. Heads nod, they agree. But again, when I was talking to a bunch of vets the other day at a networking event, and they all went around into their elevator pitches. But what I noticed is that none of them started with the problem they solve. They started talking about themselves and of what they do, but they weren't addressing who they were helping. And so it was just really interesting. But yes, it's just all comes back to taking a full assessment, making sure that where are the gaps, where are the areas that we are falling short, and identifying those and then developing a plan.
Wow, great. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you're going to be, you're going to be sharing some more information here in the second segment. So everybody, we hope everybody's taking notes. We got more to come on the power of storytelling and AI, how you can create epic impact to engage, persuade, inspire in 7 seconds or less. We got more to come with Hailey Evans when we come right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com.
When it comes to business, you'll find the experts here. Voice America Business Network.
are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. If you're just joining us, we're talking about epic impact. Engage, persuade, inspire in 7 seconds with the power of story and AI. We're here with Hailey Evans. Again, she is a expert in this particular area. Award-winning marketing strategist, national speaker, and founder of Strategies That Stick. Again, a consulting firm that helps nonprofits and mission-driven leaders craft compelling stories and implement marketing strategies that drive real impact. So, Hailey, I know in the first segment you gave us the foundation about epic. You talked about the power of storytelling and how that it's all about the messaging, and aligning that to what truly matters to the nonprofit's audiences, challenges that could be better, and to those results they seek to have. AI is here. It's been here but not more recently on a mainstream level for the last couple of years. Can you talk about the importance of AI as a tool in combination with bringing that story to a stronger connection?
I can't say enough about the power of AI and how it has completely transformed my business. I was first introduced to it at a workshop. Somebody asked, hey, can I record the session with my app? I'm like, sure, whatever. It's just a fancy way to take notes. Well, little did I know that one encounter would completely transform my viewpoint of AI. I didn't realize it was not only recording, it was summarizing, organizing, categorizing, and differentiating between all 20 voices in the room. After I realized that, I couldn't sleep for 3 nights. I was so ecstatic about the possibility because I knew from that moment I could scale in a way that I could never have before. So since then, I have poured myself into learning AI. I never take notes anymore. I use ChatGPT daily. I use Claude AI as I'm trying to write my book. It's helping me be more concise with my words. I use Fathom Note Taker for my virtual calls, and then Otter AI for all of my in-person calls. And so one example I will share is I love doing impact stories on bold nonprofit leaders and sharing their story and their mission. I had a 3.5-hour interview with Dr. Marion Platt from Star Gospel Mission, and it ended up going 3.5 hours when it was supposed to be 45 minutes. It ended up being 30,000 words. The transcript would have been overwhelming for me to pour through and to refine. It would have taken me weeks. I had a beautifully written story that is published in just a few hours. In addition to that, I could repurpose that content to create dozens more material that could be dripped out over weeks or months. So out of that one article, I could create 5 emails, 3 social media posts, 2 blog posts, and a killer one-liner. I mean, the list just goes on and on. And so in a way that nonprofits wear so many hats and have so many things to do, they're underpaid, they're overwhelmed. A lot of times those marketing areas are not equipped to handle that skill set. It has allowed me to say, hey, let me show you and train you on AI. Let me take the burden off of you so that you can get rid of that overwhelm. I'm going to show you how to get back your time. I'm going to show you how to be more efficient. And I cannot tell you, I have had leaders, I've done demos at conferences for leaders, and they have been in tears because they have finally felt the relief to say, oh my gosh, I didn't know it was that easy. And that gives me so much joy. And so it used to cost my clients I used to charge $7,500 for a website. Now I can charge a couple thousand because I can do it in less time. So I'm able to pass along that savings to my clients, and that brings me just immense joy. So
yeah, absolutely. So when AI, because obviously it's in the power of the prompt, right? If you got to know how to prompt it correctly, and to a point where really where it aligns with what's really important to your audience, and And then again, making sure that that story aligns with that challenge so it really connects the dots. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Wow. And where do you see AI evolving into with that, with everything that you're doing? Obviously, it keeps getting stronger and stronger, at least from this end. But what's the outlook for that?
So when I poll my audience, there's really only about 20% of them that are fully embracing it and are very comfortable with it. I have an AI marketing boot camp, and I have a 4-week group coaching session. It's once a week, 1 hour. And by the end of those 4 sessions, I am seeing complete transformation. These leaders have gone from not even knowing how to access ChatGPT or an AI. By the end of those 4 weeks, they are proficient and they're writing blog posts. They are doing so many things. And so I think that as time goes on, more and more will begin to adopt it. Of course, it's like any new technology. There's going to be that resistance, and then there's going to be a little bit more willingness to think about it. And then maybe in 5 years, we'll have full-on acceptance. But those who are the early adopters are going to be the ones who are going to benefit the most. And I can't tell you, it's just, I feel like I've cloned myself, and it has been just a real blessing for me. And as I share it with the leaders who also adopt it, they just are so grateful for the tool that has allowed them to have more freedom and to take that overwhelm, because content creation is the number one challenge that I find most of the marketers and the nonprofit leaders have, is like they just have a struggle coming up, number one, with ideas, and secondly, with the actual amount of content that they need to produce.
Yeah, no, so true. And I can second that. I mean, I create content every day as an influencer and a subject matter expert in the area of emotional intelligence and communication strategy in business. And what would have taken me, it probably took me longer, but let's just say would take me an hour a day to create the content. I could do it in 10 minutes.
Yep, I know. Yeah, and you probably hear this as well. Sometimes people are, it's cheating. Don't you feel like cheating? It's like, you know what? Is driving a car...
No, it's optimizing my time to be more efficient.
Exactly, it's being smart. Is driving a car cheating? Rather, should we still be riding horses? I mean, I don't know. It's like, we got to get past that. Is using a calculator cheating? Like, get over it. It's time to embrace it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. 100%. It's not, I mean, some people... No, and it's not, and I feel like when I've used AI... Like you would think, like, well, hey, you're taking these shortcuts. Well, hey, it's making me more efficient, but you're not learning anything. I'm like, no, I learn more that way, and then I do than the other way around. I actually am learning, and it's helped me in my presentations. It's helped me even when I speak, and I speak every week somewhere, and it's just been it's been a game changer.
Yeah, the way that I explain it to people is like, if you can say it in 20 words, AI is going to help you say it in 10. And that is how we cut through the noise. That's how we create more clear communication. And that is how we gain more attention and listeners. And that's how we make people care. Yeah. So if that's really the end game is, we need concise, clear messaging. And that's how AI helps us get it.
Oh, no, so true. Love it. Love it. What would you say, if, with AI, let's just say you got, some people that are in a nonprofit or even another business, but they've been gun shy with AI. They're not sure how to use it. They don't obviously know how to prompt it. What would you do to recommend how it can, first start to help their business? Like, where would they start?
Yeah. So one of the exercises that I do, I love this because people's eyeballs get about as big as saucers. When I tell them that they've already created all the content that they need, they're like, what were you talking about? So in my last presentation, I said, I asked somebody who was resistant to AI, I said, give me your website. So got their website. I copied and pasted the entire landing page, put it in a chat GPT, and I said, analyze this landing page for content and design and give me recommendations for how to improve it. In 6 seconds, I had a full list of weaknesses, strengths, and recommendations. And the eyeballs of that business owner was just like, what? How in the world? It can be used for strategy. It's not just content creation. So that's one way that I get people to just like break out of their, thinking that it's just something that is not valuable to them. The second piece that I do is when they don't think that they can help with their clear messaging is I take their entire landing page, or I take their about us or their mission, their vision, and to me, mission and vision, it's so outdated. That's not going to win people to you because it doesn't still start with a problem. We need to address the problem, and that's what the Epic intro does. The problem, the solution, the outcome. So what I do is I will take their landing page, and I have custom GPTs in my chat, and I'll run it through that. And in 5 seconds, I have a complete elevator pitch for them. And again, they're just like, holy crap, I had no idea that AI could be so specific. And, they think that it's not going to sound like them, but it's like with anything, you have to train it. You have to take some time and don't give up on it. You just have to keep tweaking it.
Well, that's just it. Like, it builds on what you input and it starts to kind of know who you are. So in essence, it can adopt your voice. It may be not 100%, but it's close enough. And as long as that you're not feeding it, stuff that's incorrect, then it's like with anything. Because I know a lot of people will say things about what they do, and then I know they don't do it. So were they kidding? Hey, I would probably pinpoint them accurately more than they themselves. So no, that's great. I love that. And they do go hand in hand, like you said. So just when you're helping organizations with the message through the story using AI, it's a tool, right? It's not something they depend on, but it's a tool that will only enhance what they're doing in this area.
Right. And I explain it to them this way. I say, look, you create the content. You allow AI to curate the content. You are still behind the keys. You are holding all of the control. You don't have to let anything, go out if you're not comfortable with it. But you can still continue to tweak it and make it sound like you. And so, if people stick with it long enough to see that, they will absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just like myself. Like my sentences aren't always great. I'm a better speaker than I'm a writer, obviously, but I can just type it the way whatever's coming out of my head. That's how I write. And even though I sound great when I talk, it may not always register the same way on paper. But now, like you said, I could put it in ChatGPT, and then it structures it much better, and obviously addresses the grammar, and it's just a cleaner, a layout and delivery of that most people would be able to resonate with, versus somebody might not understand what I meant with the way I said it.
Yeah, definitely. It's a tool. It's just a tool, and if people can learn how to use it effectively, it'll make an incredible difference in their life.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Wow, that's great. And then, and how important is, you have the story you talked about AI, but just in content in general, is producing content daily or a certain frequency a week? How important is that to build that, further sustain that engagement to, convert either more people or businesses to your business?
Yeah, well, consistency is key. Another piece that I am big on is email marketing. People waste so much time, money, and energy on social media. Now, I'm not saying that it's a waste. I think there's a place for it. However, email marketing has a 40 to 100% ROI. That is a HubSpot quote. When I share that, they're like, what does that mean? I said that every dollar you put in, you're going to get 42 back. And when you take the time to invest it takes time for the email marketing, but it costs so little. So right now I have 10,000 subscribers. My email open rate is around 50%. And that's much higher than industry average because I actually give them content that, number one, speaks directly to them, and secondly, is valuable. And so if people can understand how to do that, they're going to get much more bang for their buck if they do it through email. Because people get excited when they get 40 likes on social media, but you know what? If I can drive 15,000 clicks to my website from my own email list, who's the winner there? And so if nonprofits and businesses could wrap their hands and their head around that strategy and get on board, I mean, it would blow their minds and it would really increase their ROI.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know, we're getting close to the end of the second segment. We got about a little under 3 minutes. Anything else that before we get into the next area to talk about in the third segment? Anything you want to either add on or to elaborate further about AI and storytelling together to create epic impact?
I think that when it comes to the content, people need to mix it up. What I see a lot is that they're constantly asking for a donation, or they're always pitching. You need to mix it up to where you're entertaining your audience, and sometimes you're informing them. Sometimes you're giving them a lesson, but you need to mix it up, and I've got some very unique ways to offer and really fun ways, so I'd be happy to share those. Yeah,
no, we'll definitely can do that, and you're more than welcome either in the next segment or even if we got a couple minutes if you want to do it, if you got some
okay.
time now, or anything else you want to elaborate before we move on to the next area that you're going to cover.
So one of them is I love to write impact stories on leaders, on innovative leaders, but they tend to be long. They might be 3 pages long. Is anybody going to take 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever to read it? Probably not. So the best way to do it is to break them up into segments. And what I call that is a soap opera sequence. So I run it through AI and I say, create a 5-part soap opera sequence with this one article. And in literally 20 seconds, I have 5 separate emails, and it just breaks up the content chronologically. It gives me the subject line, the preview text, the headline. And part of my epic framework in emails is always to add a PS. Now, the reason why we love soap operas is because it always leaves us hanging. It leaves us wanting more. So the first email might be the opening, and then it's the PS. Stay tuned for tomorrow's email because I'm going to share with you how X, Y, and Z happened. So that is a way to take long form content, create more interest, and engage your readers and keep them guessing. And that curiosity is what's going to spark long-term engagement. So that's one strategy.
Wow, great. And I know you're going to be covering more here in the last segment of the show. We got more to come here soon with Hailey Evans. Again, we hope everybody is taking notes, especially for any of our listeners that work or run nonprofits. This is a show for you. Make sure that you get in contact with Hailey. All the contact information, which she'll be providing you here later before the conclusion of the show, as well as in the show notes on our Lipson platform. You can find it there. She'll also have something also probably to offer as well, so we highly encourage you to take advantage of that. So we hope everyone's getting value. We got more to come here with epic impact. Engage, persuade, and inspire in 7 seconds with the power of story and AI. We'll be right back after the break.
What is balance? It's being true to your purpose and not being distracted by shiny objects, surrounding yourself with family and loved ones, nurturing your spirituality, maintaining healthy balance of emotional and physical wellness, and being present in the moment. Chris Salem creates awareness about unblocking mindset barriers for sales professionals, business leaders, entrepreneurs, and all types of people to have sustainable success at the next level. The solution evolves out of the problem or challenge. The issue is that many people and businesses manage the effect but do not address the root cause. You now have an opportunity to live your life and operate your business in the solution rather than the effect of your challenges. Schedule a time to chat about your goals and the person you desire to be by going to ChristopherSalem.com. We have group consulting calls, one-on-one, and other programs to assist you. It will be the best thing you do for yourself to see how sustainable success is possible for you in your life and business. Join us at the next level. Visit ChristopherSalem.com. Voice America is on LinkedIn. Connect with us today. You are listening to Sustainable Success with Chris Salem. Send an email to Chris at ChristopherSalem.com. Now, back to Sustainable Success.
Welcome back to Sustainable Success. If you're just joining us, we're talking about epic impact. Engage, persuade, inspire in 7 seconds with the power of story and AI. We're here with Hailey Evans. Highly encourage you to check out this show in its entirety here later today on the Lipson platform or any of our other areas where we distribute the show on Apple, Spotify, also YouTube with the audio version, and our Facebook page at Sustainable Success 2017. Today's show is being brought to you again by Alumni Direct, a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, they do offer now a athletes to entrepreneur program. Yes, for those professional athletes transitioning into everyday life, you can now form groups with other fellow professional athletes doing the same, where now you can make that transition more seamless. You're not alone, whether if you're starting a franchise, starting a business, or going into a new career. This is a great way to do this with people that could be on the same page or doing something similar that you're looking to do. Alumni Direct also features a podcast weekly on this area, From Athlete to Entrepreneur, with Rob Finkelstein, the CEO and founder, who also hosted the show. And if you'd like some more information about that, again, you can check that out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. So, Hailey, I mean, such great information that you've shared throughout the show about the power of story and AI with the the epic impact concept. I know you have a 5-part storytelling blueprint, something to kind of like wet the whistle, get people heading in the right direction. Can you share with the listeners a little bit more about that?
Sure. So the blueprint is part of the EPIC framework, but it's very granular. So anytime you tell a story, you need to think to include these 5 things. Number 1, you have a relatable character. Secondly, you're going to include genuine emotion. That helps you connect with your audience. Number 3 is going to be a moment in time. That helps your audience zoom in on the experience that that person is going through. The 4th piece are going to be specific details. The more specific, the better. Vagueness is not great, so hone in on those specific details. And then every story needs to have a call to action. So those 5 details, again, are relatable character, genuine emotion, a moment in time, specific details, and a call to action. So a great story would include all of those. If you forget one of those, you're going to have an okay story. But truly, if you want to get to the heart of someone and really impact them, include each of those 5 components, and it will just set your story up for success.
Wow, great. And this is something, obviously, they can get from your website or something that you can, okay?
They can, yep. So if they go to epicimpactbook.com, they can download that 5-part storytelling blueprint for free.
Okay, excellent. And we'll make sure to remind everybody again where to go towards the end of the show with that. Now, do you feel like with that storytelling blueprint, like, if people, at least that is a way to kind of get them ease into something that they're not used to doing, you think that, like that's enough to like get them to see the power of how a story can transform their message and how that message can transform not only their business, but also help create value and impact for the people they're serving?
Yeah, definitely. So stories are 22 times more memorable than facts and figures. It drives me that crazy when I get direct mail from nonprofits or even businesses that have all of these statistics. They have all these boxes. It's like, where's the story? I get things all the time that if they would just tell a story rather than all of the stupid statistics, that would actually make me want to do something. It would make me want to feel something. And so, yeah, if people could follow the blueprint and then also the framework of EPIC, engage, persuade, inspire, and close, those two things would make a profound difference. I encourage all of my clients to not let anything come out of their mouth or their computer without telling a story first. And like I said, a story can be 3 sentences long. The problem, the solution, and the outcome. So it's not that complicated. If you follow a simple framework, you're going to get much better results.
Wow, great. And that's so true. And the thing is, you got to start. It's like you're not trying to learn all this stuff at once, and it takes time. So you got to start where you're at. And it sounds like, again, that 5-part storytelling blueprint is definitely a great place to kind of, just to start where you are and kind of build out from there.
Yep. And AI helps you do all that. If you can type in just do like a brain dump into ChatGPT. And if you miss one of those things, just go back and say, hey, make this more emotional or build this moment in time into it. It's incredible how much time that will save you and just the amount of ideas. So I really encourage people, try it with AI. It'll blow your mind.
I agree. So true. And again, we want to encourage everybody, we'll make sure to provide you that link. Well, it'll be in the show, it'll be in the episode notes, but also Hailey will give it to you here again later, before we conclude the show. So what I would just say, Hailey, anything, to kind of connect the dots for everybody that you've shared here today. Thank you. I got that here. We'll make sure again, we'll include that at the end. Anything that you want to share to kind of just connect the dots with the concept of the epic impact with the story and the AI, getting that right message, that consistency of doing that. What is that? Anything else that you want to share that will elaborate, that will further build those relationships with their audience, convert more people to their movement, their cause, if they're buying any products or services, whatever it may be, how that, like anything else that you could share that will really amplify what you've already shared?
Yeah, so I think when you pair the story with strategy, that is where it's going to be amplified. And you have those step-by-step systems that will put it into place. When you look at opportunities in a business or a nonprofit of where you can use story and strategy together, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. My tagline is, I help leaders craft story-driven strategies for impact. And, like I said, stories are 22 times more memorable. And so you just have to look for those opportunities to be creative. There are so many case studies, and in my upcoming book, I share case study after case study of how large organizations have done a complete 180 with how much funding they have brought in because they have changed the way that they are doing things. One other strategy that I can share is your website. If you don't communicate what it is you do, how you help people, and how they can get it in those first 3 to 5 seconds on your header, you've lost them.
Yeah.
And so when people go to a website, they usually go left, they go right, and then they go down. And you need to have 2 calls to action up on the right-hand corner and right there in the middle center of that first section that people see right off the bat. And you need to make it easy for people to do business with you. Because if it's a pain in the butt, you got to send in a contact form, then you say, oh, I'm available Tuesday at 3 and 5 and blah, blah, blah. And then it takes that person 2 days to get back to you and then that time slot's full. That is such a pain in the butt. Put a dang calendar up there and let them choose the time that's convenient for them. I can't tell you how many business owners especially really mess this up. And so if you can make it easy for somebody to book a call with you and to take that first step, that's fantastic. Another piece I see most organizations get wrong is they don't have a lead generator. Hello, this even works in nonprofit organizations. When somebody comes to your website and they're not ready to book a call, they're not ready to fill out the stupid contact form, how are you getting their information so that you can nurture that lead until they convert. What you need to provide is a downloadable asset that provides value to them. Then their information goes directly to your CRM. They get put on a drip campaign until they are nurtured, until they convert. So again, those are missed opportunities that most businesses don't even think about. And when people say, oh, I don't even know like what kind of lead generator would work, use AI. All I did the other day with another client was I copied and pasted his landing page into chat, and I said, give me 5 ideas for a stellar lead generator. And it gave me a checklist, it gave me a quiz, it gave me a PDF, it gave me all of these ideas. So there's just a lot of missed opportunities. And so if you bring in somebody that has the strategic eye, I see things through a very different lens than most people. When people build websites, those are developers. They're not usually marketers. And marketers usually are not trained in stories specifically.
No.
So there's a really big difference. So I just encourage people that when they're doing their due diligence, make sure that you're doing yourself a service and find somebody who's really going to serve you well and get you the results you deserve.
Yeah. Oh, so true. I love it. I love it. In terms of the, storytelling and what are as we get closer to the end of the show here, do you find that it's going to be different for different people, like depending upon their audiences, like where like certain social media platforms or blogs or when they speak, when they're on podcasts, like you're on this one, that type of thing. Like, yes, it's going to be different for wherever their audience is, but that's important that they're leveraging those platforms, correct?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it depends on who that audience is. I mean, like for you and me, Chris, it's pretty much LinkedIn.
Yeah.
For anybody who is a business, that's going to be LinkedIn. Now, it depends on what kind of business you are or what kind of nonprofit you are, but I encourage everybody to get on LinkedIn. I think it's an elevated platform. You're going to get higher quality leads. But there's plenty of businesses that do great on Facebook and Instagram as well. So it just depends, again, who is your audience? What are their needs? What is the problem that they have? And how well are you going to be able to communicate that? Another way that people can use AI is that Alex Hormozi is, the author of the $1 Million Ad or, the $1 Million Offer. I also follow Russell Brunson. So put in your idea to chat and say, craft a message and an ad how Russell Brunson or Alex Hormozi would actually do it. And you will find that that AI will give you an incredible reading of exactly how one of those leaders would do it. And so that's just another example of how you can use AI to your advantage to build your business.
Wow. Powerful stuff. I love it. And help everybody you're going to want to reach out to Hailey because again, your situation might be different from someone else's, but nonetheless, getting some insight where you can leverage your content and story using AI could be a game changer where you are and where you want to be. So definitely take it. And with that being said, Hailey, we're near the end of the show. I want to first personally thank you from everybody here at Sustainable Success for taking the time to be with us here today to share your insights. And we want to leave this opportunity for you to share with the audience how they can get in touch with you. What are you up to and anything you'd like to provide them? I know you mentioned about the blueprint, and you're more than welcome to state that again and anything that they could get in touch with you.
Sure. So if you're interested in the book, you can find it on Amazon. It is available currently for pre-sale on ebook. However, it'll be dropped for paper book and Audible on July 16th. If you go to epicimpactbook.com, you can download my 5-part storytelling blueprint and get that immediately. If you would like to book a call, you can find me at strategiesthatstick.com. And you can find out all of my services, resources. I also have a blog that has all kinds of helpful information, whether you're a business and you want marketing help, or if you're a nonprofit and you want fundraising help. So I really serve mission-driven leaders and organizations who are making an impact. And I just love to make a difference. And I know that the people that I serve want the same thing. And so I appreciate this so much to connect with your listeners, Chris, and I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to share.
Thank you so much. And again, thank you. And listeners, again, all that information, again, a lot of that will be on the Libsyn platform for this episode, where you can see those links to, get in contact with Hailey and also take advantage of the things that she shared here with us. In 15, 20 seconds, Hailey, if you can just leave us on a high note with what you want to share with the listeners to what you discussed today.
Yes. So I think that focus on story over statistics and numbers. Focus on strategy. Don't just pray and spray. Really think hard about where it is that you want to be in a few years and what you want to achieve and the impact, the legacy. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And work with the end in mind, work backwards. And so just reverse engineer that. So I would love to connect with anybody who wants encouragement or just a better way of doing things to bring in more funds for your organization. And again, I appreciate it. Everybody has a story. No story is too small. Everyone has a story to offer the world, and I'd be honored to help share that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Sustainable Success. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Hailey in to share their words of wisdom and insights to help you in the area that they have expertise to take you to the next level. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please share it with other people, especially nonprofits. And again, we'll see you next week here at the same time and with a different area of content that we'll be covering. Till then, everybody, enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, and we'll see you then. Take care.
Thank you for tuning into Sustainable Success. Be sure to join Chris Salem and his guests every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Time and 3 p.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Business Channel. Have an incredible week.